All right, buckle up. This one's going to be fun. Dog racism. It's a thing that actually bothers me. If you're wondering what I mean by that, I mean pit bulls are the black people of the dog world. They deal with some shit. There's a lot of people that love them. They go, man, they're so sweet, which is the equivalent to saying they're really athletic. With humans, they are. They are sweet dogs. I do think there are breeds that are more likely to be aggressive and more likely to be calm. And I think there's certain things that are bred into dogs. I'm not saying that there's not different traits, but what I am saying is the people that say, oh, I can't believe they let their kids around a pit bull or they have a pit bull. Dude, I'm not saying you're a fucking idiot, but when it comes to this one topic, you're a fucking idiot, man. If you think that dogs are automatically going to be good or evil based on the way that they were bred, it's just not the case. Like, pit bulls are the main one. Pit bulls get a really bad rap. There's states where pit bulls are fucking illegal. There's states where you can't bring your dog. If you want to move to a certain state or a certain city, you can't bring your dog with you if it's a pit bull. So there's a lot of terrier mixes in those states. But the thing is, like, I've met people that have really nice every kind of dog and really mean almost every kind of dog. I've never met a mean golden retriever, but that's might be a coincidence. But the thing with pit bulls is they're naturally very sweet dogs as far as I can tell. I think their natural demeanor is to be very sweet. I think the fact that they're very powerful and strong dogs makes them a perfect candidate for fighting, and people are fucking idiots, so they think it's fun to train them to fight, which means they have to make them mean. People also think it's fun to train them to be like guard dogs and things like that, especially the drug dealer that used to live across the street. He had a pit bull that was actually really sweet, but it was trained to make a lot of noise and act as basically a first line of defense against the police or an intruder. Somebody, it was in the front yard all the time. I say it. He had two. He had a female and a male, I think, different times. But his dog would be in the front yard 24/7. And if you pull up at the house, his dog's barking and pretty scary. So it would keep people from walking up to the house. It actually did keep cops from coming up to his door when they had questions. When it was like, hey, we got to go ask this guy a few questions about a crime he may or may not have been involved in. The cops would pull up out front and wait for the dog catcher to show up. And if the dog catcher couldn't make it in about 30 minutes, which is normally the case, they just wouldn't fucking go. So it was an effective method for him to keep people out of his fucking house. That being said, it's not fair to the dog. It's not cool at all, dude. It's like you have a dog that otherwise could be like my dog, Sophie, who's taking a nap over here being a little sweetie pie. Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up, boo-boo. I will scratch your tummy soon, don't worry, okay? You could have a dog that chills with you, hangs out with you, goes hiking with you, and is really nice. Or you could have a dog that is a worker. And that's okay. I think a lot of dogs love to work. Like the dogs that are trained to sniff out drugs and sniff out bodies and stuff like that. Even the trained attack dogs that are like, they know who to and not to attack by command. Like, I think they get a sense of purpose from that. I don't think this dog felt a sense of purpose in being in the front yard 24/7 and barking at everybody. And it kind of had a very paranoid vibe about it. The second one. The first one was not so bad. But it's stuff like that. It's the thing the people do to the dog that make the dog behave the way the dog behaves. It's not the dog. I don't think there's ever been a breed of dog that just out of the womb automatically is all monsters. I do think there's breeds of dogs that out of the womb automatically are all sweetie. They're almost all sweet, actually. Almost every dog is naturally sweet. If you have to pick a thing, sweet or aggressive, most dogs are naturally sweet. And you can foster that by being nice to them and treating them right and petting them and taking care of them and making them feel seen and loved and whatever and making them part of your family. You can give them a great sense of purpose by giving them a job or two. They do seem to really enjoy having a job. Like police dogs seem to really like being police dogs. Bird dogs seem to like being bird dogs. I don't think there's anything wrong with training your dog and using your dog as a utility, as long as you still treat them like a living, breathing, sweet animal. My problem is when you get into the thing where you train your dog to be an attack dog or a fighting dog or whatever, and it happens to be a pit bull, and then people see that and go, oh, pit bulls are bad. Like, it's fucking stupid. The idea that you're any better when you say, oh, I would never let my kids have a pit bull, or those people have a pit bull, I don't want them living in the neighborhood. If you think that's somehow different or better than saying I don't want a black neighbor, you're fucking wrong. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, maybe the dog doesn't feel as excluded as the person, or maybe there's some differences, but you're still using the same fucking mindset. You're still thinking the same way. You're still saying something that person or dog cannot control, the way it was born, is the only thing I'm going to judge it by. I'm not going to wait and see. I'm not going to introduce myself and say, hey, puppy, how you doing? And let it sniff my hand. Or, hey, neighbor, how you doing? And shake their hand. Like, it's the same thing. When you walk up to a person, you say, hey, hi, I'm Andrew. Nice to meet you. You shake their hand. You look them in the eye. You get a feel for them. You can tell if you like them or you don't like them pretty quick, usually. With a dog, same thing. You stick your hand out. You go, hi, how are you? Let them sniff you. You pet them. You find out they're fucking cool. You know how many pit bulls I've been around that are mean and aggressive and scary? Fucking 2, maybe 2. You know how many pit bulls I've been around that are super sweet, nice dogs, that the dangerous thing about them is their fucking tail wagging so hard it hits you? And now that I will say, those fucking pit bulls' tails are pretty aggressive. If I gotta pick a thing about a pit bull I don't like, their tails are fucking, they swing them so dang hard. They're just swinging them. One time my brother-in-law's dog fucking got me in the leg and I almost cried, okay? But she didn't mean to. She's a sweetie pie. She comes up to me, she's like, rub my belly, bitch, and just wiggling. She's just a dog. She just wants you to pet her. She just wants to be loved. And one thing that's good about it is pit bulls come in all colors. So at least there's not people going, man, black pit bulls are the worst. Which, as dumb as that sounds, it's the same level as dumb. It's the same level of dumb as saying all pit bulls are scary or all pit bulls are mean. They're not mean or scary animals. They're animals that can be trained to be mean or scary. Just like almost every other dog. Like, it's pretty hard to make a fucking poodle scary, but I've heard that poodles, when provoked, are pretty fucking scary. They don't look scary because they're all fluffy and fucking, woo, look at me, I'm pretty. But I've heard they can be pretty scary. I don't know. I've never experienced it. I've been bit by 7 dogs. I don't blame the dog in 6 of those cases. I was a hyper kid. I was always running around, fucking screaming, acting crazy. I surprised the shit out of a deaf dog one time. And she was a nice dog. It was a Dalmatian that lived down the road. She was deaf and I believe partly blind. She was very old. And I came around the corner and I essentially ran into her. And she bit me right on my butt cheek. And that, I would say, is my fault. My neighbor next door had a dog named Shadow. Shadow was kept in a fucking cage, like a pen that was probably 10 by 15 feet. And it was just like a chain link fence in their backyard that was smaller than their backyard to keep the dog over there. This dog didn't get to go out for walks. This dog didn't go in the house. This dog didn't play in the rest of the backyard. This dog didn't have normal human interaction at all. This dog essentially was a prisoner in its backyard. Shadow got out one day, and me being an ignorant, like probably 8 or 9-year-old, I walked up to Shadow and I was like, hey, let's get you back home, buddy. And I tried to reach for Shadow's collar, and Shadow was not having it. Shadow bit my fucking lip. Fucked my face up. All the other stories, not that entertaining. My friend Tyler's dog, Vader, named after Darth Vader, just randomly kind of bit people because they were mean to their dog. I don't think they were mean, they weren't abusive or anything. I think they were just like, they treated their dog a little weird, and their dog just sometimes reacted badly to situations. But in none of these cases do I think it's the dog's fault. Like the Dalmatian, that wasn't the owner's fault or the dog's fault. My neighbor's dog, Shadow, that was my neighbor's fault. Like that, legit, you just don't pin a dog up that much. I mean, it's not letting your dog have human interactions, other dog interactions, or walks, or really anything besides just being locked in a small pen It's just not fair to the dog. So I assume a lot of those things play a factor. I guess what I'm saying is, if there was a person that was going to have a problem with dogs, it would probably be the guy that got bit by 7 of them in the course of 5 years when I was a kid. But I'm not scared of dogs. I don't dislike dogs. I do think that dogs need to be approached with caution. Like, I think if you don't know the dog, you walk up, you let them smell your hand. Or if you don't know the dog and it's growling and barking, maybe don't fucking engage because you don't know the dog's situation. That might be a dog that was trained to fight. Might be an attack dog. Might be a dog that's having a bad day. Might be a dog with rabies. I don't fucking know. But the idea that any one breed of dogs is inferior or is automatically aggressive or anything like that is, to me, the weirdest form of racism ever. And I think you should, like, if you're one of those people that hates pit bulls, I think you should just think about what I said for a little bit. Just go, well, let me see. How many pit bulls are there in the world, and how many pit bulls have attacked people this year, and how many... You go through the numbers, you'll realize pit bulls aren't scary. They're pretty fucking cool. And I'm saying pit bulls today because that's the ones that get the most heat, but honestly, dude, I've heard people say chows. They're like, dude, I'll never get near a chow. Chows are all scary, aggressive, mean dogs. It's like, dude, I've met fucking a lot of chows. They're not usually aggressive from my experiences. German Shepherds, same thing. Rottweilers, same thing. Dobermans, same thing. Dobermans are cool as fuck. I think Dobermans, especially the really tall ones, are super cool. Great Danes. Never heard a negative thing about a Great Dane except they're usually really hyper. They're huge. If you wanted to pick a dog to be scared of Great Danes. Because if that motherfucker bit you, if a Great Dane bit you on your face, in one bite, it would have your whole face, dude. It'd just take you from chin to forehead and skin your shit off. But they don't, because they're sweet. Because most of the time, people treat them decent. And that's the reality of all dogs, is they almost always are a reflection of how they are treated. Which might be why you're so sweet, Sophie. Although I do think, when we're talking about the nature of a dog, I think Sophie was naturally sweeter and sassier than most dogs out the gate. I will say that. But not a lot of Kugels? What are you, a Kugel? Corgi Poodle mixes out there. So, it is what it is. Anyway, go hug a dog. They don't like hugs. I'm joking. Don't hug a dog. Go pet a dog. They like to be pet. They don't generally like hugs. But go love on an animal and stop being racist.